Yeah.
Right, thank you.
Morning.
So good to see some of you being here before. Welcome to those who haven't been with us before. Hi Louise, welcome.
Morning, thank you.
We will give everyone a chance to quickly introduce themselves. But welcome to Best Year Ever 2025. I'm Tony, this is Ian, and we are taking you through time freedom through structure and what we call Showpiece Day. So many of you have worked with us before, you will know some of this, but it's always good to really focus on how do you get the best out of your days. So as I said, I'm Tony. I am the founder with Ian of Expert Growth Services, and we work specifically with small business owners and founders, helping them to make the most of their teams, their time, their money, and make sure that they're able to, you know, get the most out of their businesses and free up that time freedom that frankly most of us start up our businesses to achieve in the first place, but it's not as easy as we think. And Ian, do you want to just quickly introduce yourself?
Yeah, very quickly. Yes, a lot of you have heard all this before from me. Morning. I'm Ian, ex-banker, 30 odd years in banking, business, corporate finance. Came out, retired in 2010, set up my own commercial finance brokerage in 2013, which I took to sort of 30 odd staff, 3.5 million turnover. Sold out in 2019 to a major corporate. So all I would say, my lessons that I've learned, I was always comforted by that corporate institution blanket, and then realised that it's not always that easy when you're outside in the real world being a business owner. So I fully get what it's like and understand, you know, the problems and the niceties of being a business owner. So good morning.
Yeah, so lovely to see you all. Now, I know you all haven't been here before, so we will give you a chance to quickly introduce yourselves, but do use the chat to introduce yourselves, please. You know, use this as an opportunity to network. But today is all about sharing 10 big ideas with you, create a life and a great life, one great day at a time. So that's how we build a great life and a great business, is one day at a time. I could launch into song, a very old one. For those of you who are of the same era. Anyway, so yeah, just quickly round the room. Who are you? Where are you from? Why are you here? Couple of seconds each.
Want me to start?
Go on, thank you.
My name's Kate Gardner. I live in York. I've been with Tony on one of her courses before. I work for the National Trust. I've got a regional leadership role. I'm leaving the National Trust in April and am looking to go it alone. So this is beautiful timing for me.
Fab, Kate, it confused me because I was thinking that's not Jill Morris.
I come up with Jill. Yeah, that's because I haven't received any joining details from you, so Jill sent them to me.
I also had a strange name, Tony, on mine. I don't think I've ever been that person before. Well, not on a weekend. But...
Anyway, right, we'll have to sort that out. I don't know how that's got to be Zoom. I don't know. Anyway,
Payim or something. It was. I don't know if that was somebody else, but I've just renamed it. So that, yeah,
I will look at renaming mine. That's a good point. Jill sells her apologies, Tony.
Okay, thank you very much, Kate. Brilliant. Okay, Pam.
Hi, I'm Pam. I live in York, and I am setting up a business called the Rainwater Academy for an Independent Life, which teaches people how to be self-reliant in a world where we are not anymore. Yeah.
Brilliant. Thank you, Trevor.
Yeah, good morning. I'm Trevor Henry. I'm the director and a training consultant for a company called National Federation for Personal Safety. deals in the subject of preventing and managing violence and aggression and challenging behaviour, from policies, procedures, training, post-incident review, expert witness reporting in courts. And I live just north of Preston, Garstang, for those who live in the northwest.
Thank you, Trevor. Stu?
Morning all, Stu Lloyd. Yeah, live in the glorious city of York, although it's not quite so glorious today, is it, kids? And cold and chilly. Just don't stop smiling, Tony. I know you're
Sorry.
glancing in that sunshine. Yes.
I'm going to
Oh, I love
place
this
my
weather.
camera out the window. Sorry.
Although to be fair, it's much better than it was yesterday when it was a bit warmer and just mucky and miserable and muddy walking the dog. So there we go. Yeah, so Stu, I've worked with Tony before, did one of her programs last year. I've got some aspirations to want to improve myself, always take some nuggets out of pretty much every session I get whenever I sit on these things. So that's what I'm here, just try and learn a bit, get a bit better.
Brilliant. Thank you. Louise, welcome.
Hi, yeah, thanks for having me. I'm Lou. I don't live in York. I live in Leeds. I am currently in London. I work for M&S, so I'm in London 2 to 3 days a week. So I'm obviously within a big corporate, not starting up a business, but I have no doubt I can take some nuggets away from this in terms of focus and time management, as the world of retail is incredibly busy and relentless. So the ability to step back and take a breath would be really helpful for me.
Yeah, I know that. I'm ex-retail myself.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, Grace.
Hi, I'm Grace. I'm in Leeds, but previously worked in York. So yeah, pretty much all over the country, but mainly based in Yorkshire. Worked in property for years and have recently, last summer moved into land and planning. So again, don't have my own business yet, but just kind of potentially see that in the future. And again, just want to learn as much as I can. So just here to be a sponge and take it all in.
Brilliant. And I love it, Grace, when you say, I don't have my own business yet. Brilliant. Carol.
Thank you. Morning, everybody. I'm Carol Clark. I have been in business 7 years. I'm a chartered town planner. I'm the founder of Bramwell Town Planning, and also I'm a property investor and the co-founder of Prime Land. My focus for my clients is providing advice to help them increase the value of their land or property using the planning system, which is what I do in my own investments. I'm incredibly busy. So my focus this year is to build additional assets, that being to launch my book, Planning Permission Unlocked, and also to launch my planning courses so I can reach far more people so they can engage with the planning system.
Oh, I love that, Carol. Brilliant. Kim.
My name is Kim, and not whatever name was I was assigned before. Yep, I am an ex-teacher turned virtual assistant. So I've got a range of clients that I support with general administrative sort of clerical duties. So I've got a couple of property developers, so that's clearly something that's in the room, and wine merchants through not what I know about wine, but just by sheer coincidence and connections and networking. So yes, yeah, that is me, and I'm up near, not far from Trevelle, near Chorley.
Brilliant. Thank you, Jane.
Morning, sorry. My name's Jane. I am an interior designer and I've had my own business for, this is my 17th year. I specialise in dementia care interior design, and I'm currently doing a 58-bed care home in Harrogate. But I am here because I am trying to refocus my business on a more community-based aspect towards sort of property development with regard to furnishing the insides of people's developments to rent furniture to them. So property staging, it's called. So my business is called Fire Interiors, and that arm of it is called Fire Property Staging. And I've been on a couple of Tony's courses and found them really interesting. And I think it's really good, and you always learn something. And it's nice just to reinvigorate and meet new people.
Thank you, Jane. Aileen.
Morning, my name's Aileen. I have recently left corporate after almost 20 years, and I'm in the process of deciding whether to start my own business or go back into corporate. And I recently attended one of Tony's masterclasses, learnt a lot, and just feel that it's a good opportunity to learn and share some observations and insights with other people. I'm based in Altrincham, so South Manchester, so not York, not Harrogate, not Leeds, but that part of the world. But I have heard of Garstang and have heard of Chorley.
Thank you, Aileen. V, how are you?
How am I? There's a question. So yeah, I'm V. I used to live in York, but I've moved a month ago to County Durham. So yeah, still in a bit of a tip, but doing all right. Got some nice views and the weather's nice, which is great. The snow has all melted. So I'm a spiritual healer and essential oil enthusiast and want everybody to believe they're amazing and wonderful. And why am I here? Because Tony always teaches amazing stuff, and I've done stuff in the past when I lived in York, and I want to kickstart my business having moved. So yeah, that's
Thank
me.
you. Joe and Daniel. I know you're not Daniel.
I don't know how to change it, so it says me. Yeah, I'm Jo. Dan's just having to go to a meeting. We have a cleaning company in Preston, commercial business called Evolve Commercial Cleaning, and we've had a couple of coaching sessions with Tony over the past couple of weeks, which have been brilliant. So yeah, that's us.
Thank you. Shumsa.
Hi there. Sorry, I've had to go off camera because I'm in Addis Ababa and the internet's not very reliable. Hello, everybody.
You win the prize for furthest away then, Shumsa.
Bless you. Thank you. I used to have my own international development consultancy until COVID, when everything went pear-shaped. And then I went and took on a job, and I realized I'm not really made to be in a job. And so I've left that job, and I'm now looking for inspiration and maybe some confidence to try and go back to doing more projects abroad. It's not been easy because of things have changed significantly, and I've come here just really to meet some nice people, boost my morale and self-confidence again after a big shock to the system. And I've been on one of Tony's courses before, so I thought it'd be good for me to do this. So thank you, Tony, for organizing this and offering your free time. It's really appreciated.
You're welcome. Right, brilliant. Well, you're all in the right place for different reasons. So we're going to jump right in. Ian.
Well.
You're doing number twos.
Yes. Yeah, don't do that to me.
Sorry, Ian. I was just testing. Yeah, sorry. Big idea number one then. So 10 big ideas about how to live a great life, a great day at a time. So no matter what your goals are, so some of you have done the goals workshop and the purpose workshop with us. If you haven't, there'll be time to do that later. It's a recurring 13-week program. But the only way that we can achieve our goals is one day at a time, one step at a time, one little step at a time. But if we don't look at how we create great days, then we will have much less chance of achieving our goals. So big idea number one is today is the day. Today is the day. So, what sort of urgency do we have about today, and how are we going to make today different? So, we can all have great ideas, we can all have great goals, but if we're not doing something each day and we're kind of going, oh, well, I'll do that tomorrow, or maybe I'll look at that next week, or shall I start that next month? Then do you know what? Your goal just gets further and further away. So we have to do what some might think of is the boring and the mundane, really, is that what is it that we do each day to make the day great so that we have much more chance of hitting those goals and targets. So what is it that you could do today to make today the day that you actually start the work on going after what it is that you're trying to achieve? So that is big idea number one, in terms of what is the urgency, what is it that you would do today that's going to take a step towards your goals, and having the sort of presence that you need around that so that you are totally focused on it. That's big idea number one. Now it's your turn, Ian.
Thank you very much. Excuse guys if I struggle. I think we're going down with the dreaded virus, so
Man flu.
apologies. Yeah. Okay, number 2. Second big idea is M+1. Basically, your micro levels and your macro levels. So we need to create a vision of what that masterpiece day really is going to look like. And how do we create that? You know, if we had a magic wand, what's that masterpiece day really going to stand out, and how are you going to stand out, and how that's going to look? So we want to really think to ourselves, okay, what does it look like? How's our day made up? I mean, there's different parts of the day. First of all, we've got to get out of bed. That's the first thing. What sort of exercise might we be doing? What are we eating? So it's all these things that are a part of the structure for you to get there and where you want to be. So it's a matter really of thinking, right, okay, if I can wave a magic wand, what is that day going to look like? Now, obviously, with any day, there's going to be constraints. And some of those constraints we just can't control. I think it's really a matter of you can't be a perfectionist, and I think you've really just got to understand and face reality that there are going to be constraints there, but take them on board, try and deal with them, and just bat them off really the best you can. Also, we've got to take things into account when you look. I mean, what are our constraints and things that could happen? I mean, you are going to get a phone call where someone might sort of upset what you're doing and upset your day. That's going to happen. But it's really just sort of understanding that, you know, where we are, being aware of what can happen, what you want to achieve, and just dealing with anything that's going to be thrown at you.
Okay.
Yeah.
And taking the time to create that is the goal here. Is like, what does that look like for you? So what is it that you would do each day if you were to paint your perfect day? And knowing that it probably never happened, but if we don't have a plan for one, then it's never going to happen for sure. So big idea number 3. So we talked about targets, and we always talk about targets, because without them, we don't know what it is that we're actually going after. It's really hard to say yes to things that are going to take us in the right direction. And most importantly, it's really hard to say no to things that are going to take us and move us away from that direction if we don't know what it is. You know, if we get in an aeroplane and the captain doesn't know where he's going, we could go somewhere really nice, or we could go somewhere that we're not very happy with. But so you hope that he knows or she knows where they're going, and they've got it all planned out and all mapped out. So what is your number one thing for today? So you've got your target, which might be 5 or 10 years out in terms of your big, wildly important goal for your business or your life or your career. You then bring that back to, okay, what is this year? And we spoke about that in the Goals 101 and Purpose 101. What is that you're really trying to achieve? What is it that you really care about and that you're passionate about? Your ikigai, we spoke, what gets you out of bed in the morning. But we need to bring that to today. So it's called goal setting for the now. What is it today that I need to do to get done to move me in the right direction? So one thing that would be really important, if you've got that done today, that would be a really powerful day. So the Greeks and all of the ancient wisdom tells us we're teleological, which actually means targets. We're target driven as humans. We like to go after that. We like to have something to strive towards. So how clear are you on that target? Some of you have done Goals 101 with us. Some have done Purpose 101. But have you actually spent some time between the weeks to look at what is that clarity on that target for, 5 years out, 1 year out? And what's the most important thing for you to do today? So it's about re-engaging with that. And I know I said this every single class so far, and we'll probably keep saying it, but so I start my day with my Showpiece day, and at the top I put number 1 for 2030. That's my big goal. Then I put number 1 for 2025, so this year. Then I put number 1 for today. What is it that is my core thing that I need to get done? So what's most important for you? What is that one thing for you today that you need to get done? Obviously, after you've done this workshop. Ian.
Okay. Thank you. Big idea number 4, making progress. I mean, obviously we've set our targets, so really it's how we're going to progress to actually get there. Now, I mean, good luck having a masterpiece day if you aren't making progress. We've got our goals, and really it's how we get to those goals. It hasn't got to be a massive deal that comes off. You can achieve your goals by just these incremental little sort of micro goals, I call them. Just take it one step at a time, but it's vitally important that we have some kind of progress. I mean, yeah, the progress can go wrong. I mean, we get out of bed in the mornings, and the first thing we're doing, or some people do, and I used to do it, is I'll check my emails. Now, all you're doing is checking your emails, is you're dealing with someone else's priorities. Now, is that really a priority first thing 7 o'clock in the morning for you? Probably, I would probably say not. So you just got to think about, if you want to progress through the day and through your goals, what you want to achieve, it's just a matter of just putting aside those sort of things. And also, when we talk about huge differences and how we get to achieving that progress, I mean, there's a story about the British cycling team, and the guy who was in charge of the team had never won the Tour de France, and basically they just made very minor changes as they went along in their training. And one of the things was, first of all, they looked at the aerodynamics of the bikes. They then looked apparently at what they were wearing and what it was made of. And then the other thing they did, which I do find hard to believe, but apparently it's true, they used to, when they moved around, used to take their beds from the hotel, or didn't take them from the hotel, they used their same bed from hotel to hotel to hotel. So they didn't have to worry about whether they had a hard mattress or a soft mattress. So it was all about making those cyclists feel comfortable. And that guy set himself a goal for the team to win the Tour de France within 5 years. And he actually achieved it in, I think, 2 to 3 years. So he basically set himself out. He knew where he wanted to go. He knew how he wanted to progress, and just set himself just some micro goals along the way.
Yeah. All about micro gains, marginal gains, and that to get all together gives us the compound effect, really. Dave Brailsford, I think it was, wasn't it?
Oh, was it? Yeah, I think it was.
Yeah. I think he now works with the British Olympics, and he's gone around all the different sports now because he was just so spectacular. And he talked about things like putting your socks on the right way so you didn't get blisters and things like this. Literally that tiny gains can make such a difference. So yeah, big idea number 5 then is all about the fundies and waves. So again, anyone who's worked with me and I haven't spoken about the fundamentals, it would be really unusual. So for me, the fundamentals are eat, move and sleep. Okay, without those, anyone that we're working with on a coaching basis, if they're really finding it tough to have great days and get things done, this is where we start. You know, are you eating the right foods? Are you making sure that you're fueling your body? Are you getting movement? And I don't mean getting in your car at 6 o'clock in the morning, going to the gym, working out like a maniac for an hour, coming back, sitting in your car and then sitting at your desk all day. That's great. That is exercise, but it's not movement. So, you know, the science tells us we should be moving every 20 minutes, every 1,000 seconds even, which is 16 minutes and 41 seconds for those of you who don't know. So, you know, like getting up and moving, and even if that's just doing, I get up, when I'm not delivering, I get up every 1,000 seconds. I've got a 1,000-second timer, and I will do burpees, or I will do star jumps, or I will do squats. Anything to just make sure that I'm moving, because it really changes our psychology and our physiology. It stimulates our serotonin, it increases your testosterone, but it actually decreases your insulin, which actually lays down fat, makes you feel really weary, and then you get in a spiral downwards. So what we're trying to do is make sure that what we're doing is spiraling up every day. And we don't always spiral up, we don't always have great days, but if you bake in these things, eating, moving and sleeping, you know, there's a brilliant book called Why We Sleep, and it talks about, you know, before the light bulb was invented, most of us had 10, 12 hours of sleep. You went to sleep when the sun set, you got up when the sun rose. But now, modern day, let's say Western areas, we usually get about 6 hours sleep, and that isn't enough. We need to be in bed about 9 hours to get a proper full 8 hours sleep. And something happens during about 6 hours, and it's called rapid eye movement. And also what happens is your brain washes out all the residue from the previous day. There is a brain wash. And if you don't allow that to happen, we wake up foggy, we wake up, you know, not being revived, and we still got that residue in our mind, which is really why it's hard for us to think and move forward. So one of the things about spiraling up is that, you know, we want to train intensely, we want to focus intensely on what's important for today, but we also need to recover. So, you know, we want to work intensely, then we want some time out, then we want to work intensely, then we want some time out. So we're on and then we're off. So deeply on, deeply off. So that's where the spirals come, because, you know, as you start to work, you can sort of dip with your energy. So give yourself some time out. I don't know, go out in nature, or, you know, just do something that is actually not taking all your brain power. And then that way you will be able to sustain your energy and improve your output on the day. I think especially as business owners or busy people in corporates, what we think is if we just keep ploughing on, and we just add hours and hours and hours into our day, that we're actually doing more work or better work. And we aren't actually, you know, after a certain amount of time, our work output really depletes. So it's thinking about working in waves, you're on and you're off throughout the day. And what have you got your fundamentals baked in? What could you be doing differently? What could you be looking at around those things? Play with those things to see how they work well for you, and then start to bake them into your day so that they become habit. So big idea number 6.
Okay, kryptonite. Now, if we really want to have the greatest day of our life, really what we can't do if it's spinning out of control with addictive behaviours. Now, these are really life-destroying habits, and we have to take these very seriously, and we have to take them on board and understand how they can affect our life personally or in business. And look, we've all got addictions. I mean, we've got to be honest about it. Whether it be social media, let me look at Facebook every hour. We're just going to put them to one side. And yeah, they're dangerous. They're dangerous to, if we talked about setting targets, we talked about setting goals during the day. And really, I think the most important thing with these kryptonites in our life is that we have to accept that they're there. We have to accept how we can deal with them. No good, perhaps, and perhaps you've got to train yourself really to get rid of them. Not just sweep them under the carpet, because they'll come back. So it's just a matter really of understanding them and how you can deal with them in your daily life, and just take control of them. That's what I'd say.
I know the number one for me has always been sugar. And I know that if I eat anything with sugar in, I want to eat more, and I eat rubbish. And then I feel the crash comes. And caffeine. So I managed to get caffeine out of my life about 4 years ago. And I really found that, I might miss that big surge of energy that you get, but I do not miss the crash that comes after, and sugar does that for me. So I know that by cutting some of those things out, and then over Christmas I overindulged a bit, as probably most of us did, and I started to feel all of that again and realised actually just how bad it makes you feel. And the thing about kryptonite comes from Superman wisdom, is it can eat away and take away your powers very, very slowly, a bit like a lobster in the pot, not realising we're actually, killing ourselves slowly, and it's ruining our energy. So yeah, I spend a lot of time around this one really for myself, definitely.
Where do I stand then when I had a bag and a half of Maltesers last night watching the TV?
Yeah, and then you don't sleep properly, and if you're a woman of a certain age, it creates hot flushes and all sorts. Yeah, so then your sleep's not baked in. So all of these do affect us. So big idea number 7 is all about AM and PM bookends. So this comes from a really great book from a guy called Darren Hardy, and it's called The Compound Effect. And being able to control the controllables is what this is all about. So if you imagine you've got a page in your diary every day, the AM, let's say before 7 o'clock, or even maybe before 9 o'clock, before you might travel out to the office. And then the PM, possibly after tea, after 7, whatever that is for you in your sort of world and your family life. They're the areas of our day where we have the most control over what we do. So he talks about using that time wisely so that we can maybe do the number one thing that's most important for us, the number one thing that's most important to get done that day. And consider the constraints of reality. Absolutely. Some of us have family and have things that we have to do that mean that we don't have loads of time, but how can we use that time more wisely? And for me, that has been about self-care. So I get up really early. I've managed to get to the point where my sleep's so baked in that I don't have an alarm clock, so I don't get a hideous sound waking me up. I wake up naturally between sort of 5:30, 6 o'clock. I get up, I work out, I meditate, I do my morning journaling, which I showed you this morning's. I do that every morning. I re-engage with my goal, my number one thing for the day. And quite often I will then do that number one thing for the day, right there and then, before I showered or got ready or anything, because then I know that by the time I get to the normal part of the day, like let's say 9:30, I've done the number one thing that I needed to do for the day. And that does then during the day, when I'm responding to clients or delivering or stuff comes up that I've not planned, I actually know, and I feel quite secure, I've done the number one thing that I needed to do. Doesn't happen every day. I'm not perfect. I'm not going to be the first one to be, but it means that the compound effect of having great days after great days after great days means that you have less worse days, and your worst days are better than they were before, and you have more good days, and your good days are better than they were before. So it really, really does make a massive difference. So think about what it is you could do and when you might want to do that in the day. The last thing really is the PM bookend. I say it counts twice because it enables you to wind down after the day and look at what's, you know, what's gone well, where you might make some changes, you know, transition into being with family or present with whoever you need to be present with, or just literally wind down and have some chillaxing. But it also enables you to get ready for the next day. Consider what it is that you're going to be doing tomorrow. So preparing for the next day. And I like to call it shut down complete. And when I switch off at night, which is usually, I normally stop by 7. Sometimes 5, and I have a bit to eat and I do a little bit more, but definitely by 7, shut down complete. And I actually say it when I switch my laptop off, because it kind of really like enforces that to me, that I've shut down and now I'm into my evening. Now I need to think about what is it that I need to do to, you know, wind down, be present for, you know, friends or family or whatever it is that I'm doing, and not focused on what I think I should be doing and beating myself up about that. And it means that it helps you have better sleep, which, as we said earlier, that's one of the fundies, and that really helps us bake in a great day. So what is it that you could be doing, especially with that AM and PM bookends, that could really change the way you run your days and create showpiece days?
Okay. Big idea number 8, deep work. Now, this is all about really creating these time blocks for deep work. Now, we all have times during the day where we need to be able to concentrate. And you probably find when you look at a normal day, most of the time, most of us will be doing shallow work now, or what I might call shovel work. And that's basically you're dealing with the emails that are coming in. You might be looking at something on the internet to do with your job, but you're basically flitting from task to task. Now, that's okay, but if we're normally having a day something that we need to be concentrating on. So, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, I have 2 deep work areas depending on workloads. And my deep work I section off is from, if I get to my desk 8 in the morning, I have 90 minutes, no more than 2 hours on deep work, whatever it might be. It might be a certain project I've got to work on, it might be a lengthy agreement or email I've got to put together, but it's something where I need total concentration. And then what I do is I'll put my phone on silent, I'll turn it upside down so I don't see it flashing, and I just concentrate on that. My second deep work period of the day for me, and this all depends on individual, my second one is from 3:30 onwards, because I find that my concentration levels need to be at a high. And they are first thing in the morning, and for some reason they are between 3:30 and 5:30, 6 o'clock. So my deep work schedule is first thing in the morning, last thing in the afternoon, and in the meantime, I'm dealing with anything that's sort of hitting me, whether it be emails, meetings, or whatever. So I think it's really important that what we've really got to do, we can't really multitask, and it's just a matter of just understanding the fact that I think it's the discipline more than anything. Just get on with what you got to do, and then just say that's it. Put everything to one side. I think, as I said before, in the past, my biggest problem used to be emails. I see the phone ding or flash, or it's an email, and it's something completely irrelevant to what I'm doing. It might be a holiday company trying to sell me holidays, and it's just put all those distractions, concentrate, and if you get your mindset that I need these deep work schedules, you'll find that you'll create what you want to create in your working day.
So how can you crush your day?
Absolutely.
Put some ideas in the chat what you could be doing, what you could be doing less of, and what you could be doing more of. It'd be good to share those.
I mean, there is one thing on this. Sorry, Tony.
Yeah.
I mean, you get the people. I mean, I was talking to someone the other day, a couple of days ago, and I said, "How's it going?" "Oh, it's been manic today. I've been meeting after meeting after meeting after meeting." So I said, "How many meetings you had then?" "Oh, I've had 6 meetings, as though it's the best thing since sliced bread." And the guy didn't know where he was. He was just completely out of control. So, you know, that is just one area where, you know, time management is important. Those meetings were probably important, very important to him. But I'm just wondering how effective that guy actually was. He literally was going in from one meeting to another in the same.
It's really interesting because I wasn't great at this, and I was very similar to that, Ian, and now I've got my time blocks really baked in. And in 2018, I realised the power of this. I kind of dabbled with it, but in 2018, I've been in my business 6 years. And when I started up my business, I wanted to take my research that I'd done sort of over the past kind of 30 years in total, and I wanted to publish a book. And I just never ever got around to doing it. So I decided to bake in my Showpiece day. So I actually, for August of 2018, got up every morning at 4:30. So I did have an alarm then. I got up every morning at 4:30 and I wrote for 90 minutes. And sometimes a little bit longer, sometimes up to 3 hours. I used to just write until I couldn't think of anything else to write. And I was working with a lady that was editing for me. So I used to send her my output every day. So it was really good to have like that accountability partner. But by the end of August, I had written my book and it was with the publisher for publishing. And I could not believe how much I did and I achieved in that 1 month. You know, 6 years of putting it off, never doing it, never getting round to that. One thing that I really did want to be my big goal was to get that book out, and it was so powerful, and then it sold it to me because I realized exactly how much I managed to get done. It was just, you know, amazing. And I'm not saying I get that every single day, but I do really focus on that, you know, and the 80-20 rule really is what works well here. If you can do that 80% of your time, then it can make a massive difference. So as much as we talk about deep work, we want deep work, we want deep love. So we spoke earlier about in the day, we want waves, you know, deeply on, deeply off. But what, you know, who are our nearest and dearest? Who are we doing all of this for? You know, it isn't just ourselves. It invariably is about our family, creating a better lives for ourselves, you know, freeing up that time so that we can spend it how we want, you know, creating that money freedom that we want to create as well. But what is that about if we don't have deep love? Like, so who is it in our lives that we want to spend time with? You know, for me, I want to be the world's best wife. I've shared this before with lots of you. I am not, but, you know, I schedule time to enable that. You know, it doesn't happen on its own, these things. You have to make time for them. You have to put in the effort. So for me, you know, scheduling that time with my nearest and dearest, scheduling time usually on a Sunday afternoon to phone my mum, to phone my sister, to phone my best mates who don't hear from me from, you know, month after month, you know, so I schedule in time and I know that I actually then make that happen. Otherwise, it just goes to the back of my agenda. Rightly or wrongly, that's what happens to me. So where does that time slip for you? Who is it that you want to be carving out these deep love blocks with so that you are able to schedule what's most important for you? You know, yes, we all we're all passionate about what we do. We hopefully all love what we're doing, or we're creating a life where we love what we're doing. But that is about having the freedom to spend with our nearest and dearest. So who are they? What is it that is important to you? And how can you carve that out so that you can be present? And one of the things that I really noticed, having carved out this time, so my time, particularly with my husband, is on a Saturday. So I don't do any work on a Saturday. I block out, we go out for breakfast, or we go out for lunch, or we go out with friends in the evening. But I'm really present. And one of the things that I notice when I'm perhaps sitting in my favourite, which is the Ivy, for breakfast, is all of these people with their families or their friends, sometimes big groups of friends, and they're all on their iPhones. So they're not present, they're not actually talking to each other. And I like to think about, like, so what effect does that have on the other person with you? So there is a piece of research, and it's called the iPhone effect. And they have shown that just by having an iPhone, or other makes are available, present in a room, so it doesn't even have to be yours, just present in the room, maybe just on the periphery of your eyesight, reduces the level of concentration that happens in meetings, that happens with you and whoever that significant other person might be. And I just try and think about, what is it really saying? Is it saying, I'm so important that I have to keep my iPhone out, or you're not important to me at all, so I'm going to keep checking my emails, checking my WhatsApp messages, checking Facebook, doing a Facebook post? Like, what is it really saying to people? How is it making the other person feel? So for me, when I am scheduling these deep love blocks, that iPhone is gone. And also when I'm in meetings, it's gone. It's locked in the cupboard on airplane mode. And it does make me think back to the days when I was doing my masters, and I was working in London. There, I managed to do all of that without an iPhone and without email. This is how far I'm going back. So, like, we don't need, the world does operate. And also, it makes me laugh as well, they managed to get men on the moon without iPhones, without text messages, without emails, and practically without computers, really. So, we can survive without that thing in our hands. And it's probably the number one thing, that and other electronic devices, that take away that presence of being with people. And, and I don't just mean it in the deep love blocks. I was chairing a meeting yesterday, actually, or the day before yesterday. I was out yesterday. And the guy who is the MD of the company was on his iPhone. So I actually stopped the meeting and said, so-and-so, do you need to go and take that? Or, is there something urgent? Because what does it say to the rest of your team if you are on an iPhone, or you are on a Zoom call and checking your messages? It's really not good behaviour that we want to duplicate or say it's all right to our team, or our team are going to feel like, well, you're not important, then something else is more important. Anyway, I've got on my soapbox a bit there. I don't know, I'll shut up. Ian.
I just saying very quickly, I was in a meeting about 3 weeks ago, about half a dozen people, and the guy who was running the meeting, his iPhone rang, and he answered it, and it was his daughter about buying a new pair of trainers. I couldn't believe it. Well, one, he had his iPhone on, and two, he said, excuse me, daughter. I thought, yeah, okay. Right, let's move on. Number 10, last one: test, measure, appreciate, iterate. The first thing really is to look at your day and sort of test what's happened. I mean, there's going to be things that go wrong, and you're going to be curious as to what's happened. And I think the biggest lesson here is not to get curious, furious. Sorry, it's don't beat yourself up over it. Just have a look and see and just test it out and just think, okay, well, what happened? Why did it happen? And just really learn from that day. Because, you know, every day that we do it, to me, is an experiment. And what happened yesterday, hopefully won't happen today unless it's all good. The other thing is measuring. That measuring performance basically will improve the quality of your performance. And I can give you a real life example with myself here. I about 3 months ago, sorry, decided that I was going to get well into LinkedIn, and to the point of becoming quite obsessive. I was spending 15-20 minutes a day trying to connect with people. But then what made it far more interesting, I realized then that you could work on the analytics and see exactly how many people were looking at you, how many people were connecting with you. And that's when it started to get exciting, because then I was measuring. So this is very sad actually, every Sunday morning, I take Sunday mornings at the end of my week. Sunday morning, I actually spend half an hour looking at my stats on LinkedIn and put them on a spreadsheet. But what it does for me, by measuring it and seeing that performance, whether if it's good, it's fantastic, that just motivates me. If it's poor compared with last week, that will motivate me, because I'm measuring where I've been and what I need to do. Why did that happen? Why was last week bad? And now I think, well, okay, hang on, I missed out Tuesday and Wednesday. I should have done a bit more on that. So measuring is really important, and it's just a good test. Just a good test to know where you are. The other thing as well on this is appreciating. Appreciate at the end of the day really what you've done, what you've achieved. You know, there's going to be moments during that day that were good, moments that were bad, but it's just reliving those good times and what happened during that day. As I say, we come back what we were talking about earlier about the time blocks, and it might be that time block you had from 8 till 9 in the morning was very successful. So just understand and appreciate why that happened. All the distractions that you might have during the day, just understand why they've happened. And finally, we iterate is the final one here. Now this is a good sort of test or experiment really. So what you want to really do is document what went well, what went bad, why did it go bad, why did it go well, and just sort of once again just understand what's happened. So it's really, as we said there, it's putting from theory to practice. And so as long as you follow those 4 key areas, you're testing what you're doing, you're measuring your performance, you're appreciating what's been good, what's been bad, and yeah, that really wraps the whole thing up.
Yeah. And as we say, theory into practice, so that there is no point in showing up week after week here and not doing anything. It's kind of leave it on the shelf. And I've done it myself. It's so easy to do. So we're all about how do you get into action? And it is theory, this, and it is proven. It is scientific. You know, even something like as simple as appreciation and looking at and celebrating what's gone well in your day and being grateful for things in your life and the day actually improves your happiness scores by 25%. So my view is, like, why wouldn't you not do that every day at the end of it, you know, and look at what's gone well. That's what these acronyms stand for. What's gone well, WWW, what went well. What needs work is WNW. And that is about, yeah, something might have gone pear-shaped in the day, but let's say it just needs work. Don't beat yourself up and say it went really terrible. It's just like, let's put our lab coats on, be scientists, take the data, like Ian said. And it is not sad, Ian, it is one of our fundamentals for, you know, checking your data, knowing your numbers in your business is really, really important. Because, you know, if we were saying let's have a strategy that's about sales and marketing that is on LinkedIn, and you're not measuring it that, then what is the point of it? And, you know, it might not be working. So how do we improve it, or do we give up with it? And I know after 6 months of doing my numbers on all social media platforms, my numbers went whacking up on things like LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. But on Twitter, same stuff, literally 2 extra followers. Why am I bothering? So just knowing those numbers means that it changes what I do. And that is the science behind this. If you measure what you do, it gets done. What gets measured gets done, that old saying, but also it improves your score. So there, you know, even the science says that if you have 2 groups of people and you're not doing anything other than just give half of them a pedometer, the ones with the pedometer actually walk an extra mile a day compared to the ones without. And they weren't even trying to do that. So all good researchers know that if you give someone something to monitor and measure with, more gets done, more results, better results come out of it. So there is method in our madness. But so does anyone have any questions? You can put them in the chat, or we've got a little bit of time for you to just jump on screen and unmute yourself and ask a question.
I'm just looking at some of the text chats that come through.
Yeah, Tony, and Ian, just one question about the sort of the measurement and things, because obviously the risk is you start measuring absolutely everything. What's your advice to somebody who's working in a, you know, solopreneur, maybe 2 or 3 people in the business, that means you can actually still work in the business actively and productively, and still keep track of the stuff that's important?
Yeah. So I do it really, really simply. So you probably can't, I don't think you can see, I don't know if you can see that. So if you see like 1, 10, 100, 1,000, 10,000, that they're just little tick boxes that I have every day. And then I've also got the eat, move, sleep. I've got food, what went well, what, you know, what needs work, and win. And I fill that out at the end of the night and I tick those. So I've also got 4 and 10. So 10 is 10 new connections, and I just tick that when I've done it. 4 is 4 posts, and I tick it when I've done it. So it's literally on a checklist for me, and I've got that really simple. So Tai is on here. Me and Ian have got a checklist with all of our sort of baseline numbers, and then every month we check those with Tai, and we go, where are we at with simple things like the analytics on Facebook, LinkedIn, and it will tell us every month if they haven't moved, then we haven't done 10 new connections a day and we haven't done 4 posts a day. You know, so just make it as simple as you can, and a checklist. And again, I can't remember the name of the book, but there's the power of a checklist is absolutely massive. So the more simple you can make it, so that someone literally at the end of the day is going, did I do that? Tick, 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 or no. Again, no beating anyone up, but if that's a permanent thing, then you'll see, you can have a conversation about performance, about what we're doing, why this is important for us. But just, you know, none of us wants to get the end of the day and not tick that we did it. It's not a to-do list, absolutely not, but it's a very simple checklist. And they've proven, even surgeons in hospitals, get this is the research. I said there's always science behind everything. Surgeons were tested around the world with a checklist, okay, which when they got into the operating theatre, they each of the team introduced themselves and said their name, who they were here to operate on, what their job was, and what side of the body were they working on, okay? And they just had this checklist that they went through, and everyone did it. Do you know that reduced deaths by 47%? That, I mean, it's absolutely scary. And pilots, obviously they get in a plane, they've got a checklist and they literally go through it. So if we have that, and I'm sure Louise will align to this, most retailers, it's all about detail. There's checklists, there's control things that you just tick, and if it gets done, it gets done. If it doesn't, it's obvious. So think about what those metrics are for you, Stu, like daily actions that are in pursuit. The key thing is, the trick is that they're actions in pursuit of the goals. So are they going to be measurable, and are they going to be predictable of the outcome? Like, so if I want to get, let's say, 200 members of our membership, then we know that we've got our weekly moments, which are this. We've got so many calls that we make a week, so many meetings that we'll have, so many connections that we make on Facebook and LinkedIn. And if that doesn't happen, then our members don't come, our sales don't come. So it needs to be sort of predictable of the outcome that you really want. And it's be really simple. Sorry, Ian.
That's okay. I think also measuring performance it's I mean, Tony talks about the checklist, and I think at the end of the day, if you get to that checklist and it's all ticked and all done, that's massive for, in my view, for a positive mindset. The other thing, when it comes down to measuring performance, like on KPIs or whatever, once again, you know, if you're measuring that performance and it's great, what does that do to you? I mean, it's just fantastic. If it's not so great and you understand why, that is still fantastic. So to me, it's a no-brainer. But it's a great stimulant for positive mindset. I think measuring very, very important.
Yeah, yeah, and also it means, you know, that we're focused then. That, you know, that's what's important. We do every day. Like, so my 10 connections, my 4 posts, I do that first thing in the morning. And so that I don't sit there worrying about, oh, when I'm going to get that done, when I'm going to get that done. I do it first thing in the morning. Okay, so please let us know how today's been, what you've got out of it. For those of you who are kind of really feeling like, I'm not really sure exactly what I want to be doing, how this is going to affect me, how I'm going to get rid of this overwhelm, and I you know, I want to bake this in, but I'm not sure how it is. Then Ian and I offer a free 1-hour business health check coaching session. So if you want to book that, the link should be going in the chat. But please do book that in. We only have so many sessions a week. So please do take advantage of that if you'd like to. Yeah, thank you, Tylee. The link's in the chat there. And we would love to have a session with you and, you know, help you get focused on what it is that you want to get focused on. So before we go, we're just over time, but if any of you have got time, then please jump on, unmute yourself, and just tell us, we've used our own system here, what's gone well for you, what's important now, and what are you going to do as a result of today?
I think for me, sorry, I'll jump in, Tony, only because I've got to jump onto another one. But I think I've got lots of goals. But they all sort of, I suppose, those are the things, and it's now, like you say, sort of putting the steps in place to actually achieve them. Because I think my only measure is if I've achieved them, and if I've not, then that will, you know. But I've not put a time scale on when that's, so it could either be something that will motivate me or something that is going to deflate me, because I'm like, right, well, you know, I'm going to do this by, you know, by such, I just need to add the dates. But I literally sat this weekend and thought, right, I'm going to map things out, and everything, like you say, it's a domino, isn't it, of everything else.
Yeah.
I'm the same as you. I get up at stupid o'clock to get in some exercise, get up before the kids to read. But
have that time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but then, you know, the flip side of that is that you're tired by 8 o'clock.
Yeah, it is finding that balance for you. And yeah, definitely something that we can help you with through the health check, Kim. But yeah, it's about you just staying focused and not having too many goals. I mean, the one thing that we talk about on our goals session is you need one goal that you're going after. Because if you have too many, then you're chasing everything and you're catching none of it. And so it's about having one really wildly important goal that you're going after. And then it's very easy every day to say, what is it I need to focus on?
Yeah. Yeah. Whereas I think I've covered too many. I'd literally like mapped it out on the table. I've got lots of goals. So yeah, we probably need to go through those on my call.
Definitely.
I'm going to jump off, but thank you.
Yeah, right, guys. Lovely to see you all, and look forward to seeing you next week.
Yeah.
And
Okay, guys.
have a
Cheers,
great
thank you.
rest of the week and weekend.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye. Bye.
Bye.